This is SmartCash, Smart Talk Radio, Episode 5. This is Chris Zaphoid Karabats, and this episode, Mark and I talk to Paul and Spencer Lambert of Iozeta about their candy machine and their chickens and ducks and why they're in crypto and what they're doing in this space. So without any further delay, I'll let you get to the episode. Thanks for listening. Hey everyone, this is Chris and Mark with SmartCash Smart Talk Radio, and I have here with us Spencer and Paul Lambert, brothers and founders of Iozeta, and they're going to talk to us about their history in crypto, what Iozeta is, and a little bit of where they're going and what they're doing now. So I'm going to take this moment and let Spencer here introduce himself, and then we'll move on to Paul.
Hello, I'm Spencer Lambert. I got interested in crypto about 2015. And on just reading about it on the news, new tech news forums, and I looked at how the blocks are put together and the cryptography, and it was really profoundly simple to me. And I felt like it's got legs. So this is really the future. And so I wanted to buy my first Bitcoin, and I got on the local Bitcoin.com site. Met a guy at McDonald's, and we did our transaction there using the McDonald's Wi-Fi. It was, and then from there, I really was fascinated with the mining. So with my little bit of Bitcoin that I used, I made a transfer to China and bought some miners, and that was really fascinating because of how the distance and the speed. And thinking, oh wow, this is really a great way to make an international payment. So I got even more in love with crypto, and then got my miners mined for a few years, and then in 2017 took and reinvested that into more miners. And by then I made a little bit of money with that, and then lost it this year. So
yeah. 2018 has not been friendly to a lot of us here in the crypto space, but that's just part of holding on.
But still, you managed to.
Right.
When did you found Iozeta? Was that during this down period, or is it earlier?
Yeah, Iozeta is a company that my brother and I have started. We had done it. We had started some online backup as the Iozeta, the brand and name, but that eventually died. And so in and I can let Paul kind of get into a little bit of how we got going back in 2018 and resurrected Iozeta.
Yeah, go ahead. Give Paul a chance to introduce himself.
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you, Spence. Yeah, I'll a little bit of. So I'm Paul Lambert, Spencer's brother, and Spencer's the one who did introduce me to cryptocurrency back in 2017. So I've been mostly on the ride down. So, but it's been a fun little bit of a roller coaster ride, and now we're starting to gain some experience there. But I see a lot of potential in it still. Yeah, I really did. This idea of non-fiat, non-government-backed currency is just incredibly fascinating. It feels like, to me, the beginning of the internet. My background is that I had started an internet company, a broadband company, almost 20 years ago, and built that, grew that to be the largest in the area, and then sold it in acquisition roll-up. And so so I feel like I'm kind of seeing a lot of similarities, and you hear that a lot between the crypto space. And so I'm excited about the opportunities in this space, and also, just the power that it gives to people and the future of our economies. And so, yeah, so talking back, so that's a little bit of an introduction. A little bit about Iozeta. Yeah, Spencer mentioned that we had a few years back, after I had sold my internet company, we decided to figure out some things to do in the space, and we started online backup. We're a little bit late to that space. Online backup had already been well established, and so we built it. It was actually turned profitable, but it wasn't like hugely successful. So we just sort of ran it on the side, and then eventually we just kind of continued to keep those recurring revenues going for a while, for a very long time. So, but then now that in the crypto space, we're thinking about what we could do mining of cryptocurrencies. We mine Dash, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and those were actually really, really profitable, extremely profitable. And then but having these large downswings, we thought, wow, really, so much of this is driven by speculation. Came to that sort of realization, and less about the use cases. And so we thought, well, what can we actually do in this space to make it usable? And so we both have engineering backgrounds, and we had our little Iozeta company that we just kind of kept running. We thought, well, let's take and build some applications for using cryptocurrencies in an everyday way. So that's really how it got started. Iozeta and the CryptoCandy machine and the Crypto Power, those are the two products that we have right now. And we have some exciting things for the future that we're currently working on. So we can, but that's a good introduction, I guess.
No, that is excellent.
Fine introduction.
Absolutely. It's great to have people from all sorts of different backgrounds coming in and having their own reasons for coming into the crypto space, because we're all individuals, different people, and the space is about what we can ourselves do and how this can help us grow and help other people. It's about removing barriers. So that's awesome. So you guys, you had Iozeta for a while doing something unrelated to crypto, and then decided, when did the candy machine come out? When did you make that decision to launch your candy machine and your power unit?
That was around July.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
July of this year, when 2018, when we started to look at it, and we analyzed a lot of the different ways people were doing it, running full nodes on devices and screens and such, and that just seemed a way too complicated. So we took and looked at, well, what if the device was this little microprocessor? What would that look like? What are other Internet of Things doing? And we were familiar with that space, and so it was pretty obvious to us what the answer should be, and so we took and executed on it.
Yeah, and it was kind of exciting because it all sort of fit together really, really quickly. We built our proof of concept probably under 3 weeks, and then we sort of came up with a way to get it to market within just another few weeks. So, and really what we did think about mostly was how to actually make it so it's more accessible. So we looked at the very kind of the lowest cost denominators. And so, the technology within the, to put it in a little novelty item like a candy machine had to be, relatively inexpensive. And it's sort of interesting. We are a little bit low on inventory on candy machines right now. And it's not because the microcontrollers or any of that technology, it's because the candy machines themselves have become unavailable. So we're like we have very low inventory. We've sold out, and it's hard to source more, but we're working on a new model essentially that will get the cost back down to where we wanted it to be originally. And that was around $50 type thing, because and keep it under that price. So
yeah, well, we know our team has been trying to buy up a few of them because we have videos from some of our team members having their kids send crypto to get their candy or whatnot, and just having some fun playing with it. So it's a great little device, great proof of concept. But what are your plans for your next device? Like, what do you want to do moving forward with the Iozeta brand and the tech you've developed?
So for our upcoming applications, we really see a big future in vending machines. So what we are really looking for, or what we're developing right now, is taking this same relatively inexpensive technology and applying it to vending machines in a way that you can take an existing vending machine and just upgrade it. So, in vending machines that are decades old, just essentially adding this internet-enabled, blockchain-enabled device to it, and now the whole machine gets a facelift and an upgrade to cryptocurrencies. So we really think that there's going to be a huge, huge potential there. And if we can just start to get them out into vending machines, that alone will help with the idea of this adoption and people becoming more and more comfortable with using cryptocurrencies for everyday payments.
It's wonderful. That's one of the goals of SmartCash too, is to be used day to day for currencies and payments. And targeting the business market sounds like there's a lot of potential there instead of like the novelty consumer market. So that's something that SmartCash would love to promote in the future as well.
We're excited about that. And we, when we looked at SmartCash and we looked through your roadmap, we were really delighted with what we saw. So it was right in line with what we're looking, and we see how we see the future of cryptocurrencies. One question that we get asked pretty regularly, and we're not bashing on any other cryptocurrencies, obviously, but that is, why is it that our products don't support BTC and the original Bitcoin? And it was, it's pretty simple. In that it has gotten away from the idea of everyday payments. And so they introduced things that were somewhat detrimental with replace by fee. It doesn't make a lot of practical sense, but it's really that replace by fee because they just sort of looked over that. Now we know Lightning Network is coming out, but we've really, really investigated Lightning Network quite a bit. We think that that's going to be, it's going to take a long time for that to actually become, if ever, actually useful for everyday payments. So.
Well, that's really interesting. We, as I always say, we're trying to put the currency back in cryptocurrency. So it's, it's what it's really getting back to the roots of it's all about. And we're thrilled to be able to work with you on that because, we love what you're doing. Speaking of loving what you're doing, one of the things you guys have been known for is, feeding your animals with, crypto. And how did that get started? Like, where did that idea of how did you start doing that and why?
Yeah, I've taken care of chickens for many years now and just really loved it and really enjoyed it. It's made my life more fulfilling and also put delicious eggs on the table. Mm-hmm. So it's been a win-win.
That's what I always have to wonder, like, Spencer's a computer programmer, and I'm like, why is he raising chickens? It doesn't totally add up in my mind. But tell me what you told me about how is it that you even got started with chickens? Like, what was that?
Yeah, the way I got started with chickens is we had a neighbor that we were buying eggs from. And so for years and years, we get this used to these nice, fresh eggs, mm-hmm. and he's going to stop doing it. And so me and my wife were like, well, what are we going to do? How are we going to get these eggs? And we were at one of the local stores and they had baby chicks and we were like, okay, let's do this. We'll learn how to do chickens. And so we brought them home and stuck them in a box in the living room and then started learning.
Most people will build the coop and then get the chickens.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, my thought was that then from there I had like 4 months to build the coop. It was
I remember talking to you on the phone, and you'd have chickens running around in the background, like running through your house. I'm just like,
I know. I've probably got a chicken brain.
Oh, that's excellent. When did like that's how you got chickens? But what was the bridge there that you went? Oh, I can feed these with this candy machine. Like what was the how that happen?
So I mean, we're looking for ways of just showing and demonstrating Iozeta and the tools and the internet payments, kind of like what's a good zero conf demonstration. And for me, it was easy to think, oh, the chickens are it. Funny thing is when I was doing that, we have the candy machine, and I'm like trying to engineer this auger and hopper and motor and thinking how complicated can I make this thing? And I'm talking with Paul back and forth and realize, oh, the candy machine has a hopper and an auger and a motor. Oh gosh, well, why don't we just put that in front of the chicken, and we're done. So the next day it was on Twitch.
So you're somewhat over it.
Well, and leading up to that, what we were doing though, we were taking the candy machine to a lot of the Bitcoin meetups, and then we actually took them to some local like little product presentation shows, farmer market type things, and demonstrating it. It was actually really exciting to see people use cryptocurrencies for the first time buying candy. And then, but we were like, man, this is going to be a lot of work for us to be going around to a lot of these shows, you know, all the time. So how can we like accelerate that? Let's put it on the internet. And so that's what pushed us towards that as well, toward the idea.
Yeah, that's fun. That's sort of that's like the story of innovation. You kind of get a little idea, and then it goes to the next thing and next thing, and suddenly you got a Twitch stream of chickens and internet people just sending crypto, and just it's a wild idea, and it's just amazing how it just kind of came together. I think that's how we first found you guys. This idea that you can just remotely sort of interact with animals in a nice positive way was just really interesting. I think it showcases some of the positive things about crypto, especially during like down markets and all that.
Well, it does too. And the other thing that I thought about as we thought about this is that, you know, making just putting a live stream and putting a button there that then you could feed chickens with just a click of the mouse. We thought, well, somebody could do that, but then without having a cryptocurrency, the problem with that is that somebody will get online and they'll just empty your feeder just instantly because there's no cost to it. And so you have to have the economic variable in place in order for it to actually work and be functional. And so that was another thing that was sort of eye-opening. And and to set up a credit card machine and everything like that, and people have to pull out cards, difficult, where cryptocurrency just was like the perfect solution. And it really illustrates the power of cryptocurrency for internet. And it's almost, it's puzzling why it's taking so long to become adopted though. So, but it is coming. I think we always just get a little bit impatient, but.
Well, it took us a long time to get here. Yesterday was the, 100 and some odd anniversary of when they passed the Federal Reserve Act. So the 23rd.
Oh, yeah.
And it was, it's taken us a while to get here. And, but you still talk to people in the street like, well, yeah, but, the dollar's backed by gold. And you're like, no, it's not. It hasn't been backed by gold for, 40 years now. How do you still believe this? But people don't even think about their money anymore. And I think that is the biggest problem cryptocurrency has is, your money is just your money. It's not anything important, where money itself, as I was talking last week, is really one of the most important things for our innovation. But the way we exchange value with each other really allows us freedom and to have just the, I'm going to stumble here, but the ability to exchange freely is what allows us to innovate and not be stuck in the old ways. And before every great technological advance or any great renaissance in our history, there's always been a change, an innovation in how we made money and how we exchange value with each other. And I feel for the last 100 years, Western culture has just been stuck in the Federal Reserve mindset, where you have people even in the crypto space going, yeah, the Federal Reserve sucks, but nobody's thought of a better system. It's like, nah, it's not true. Plenty of better systems around there. And crypto is not about just increasing your fiat holdings. It's about regaining control of your own value. So I don't know, it's a little bit of a pet peeve of mine.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, it is. It really is. And it's just so like, you know, like anyone can set up one of these internet chicken feeders without a bank involved at all. These chickens are the most unbankable, you know, creatures on the earth, probably. And here they are, you know, they're
really
getting fed
analogy.
through the internet.
The chickens are not banked to, and they're buying their own feed now. They're getting their own chicken. What are the? Give them like the little worm. What do you give them? What's the food of choice for the chickens?
The mealworms. Their mind just blows their mind. Just makes.
That's great. I think it's. I can see some future like use cases. Even you mentioned like the sort of farmers market or the sort of country style of how do you pay for those chicken eggs. Like I could see people getting introduced to crypto through this, but then later using it like just to pay their neighbor. That would just be great to build up usage in real life situations like that.
The independent farming community around the country, they've always been questioning of government. You know, we've had in our Discord and Telegram a large number of, you know, independent direct to customer farmers out there who are very interested in crypto payments for that very purpose, because they don't trust the government in general, because you know, most of them are the organic farming types. They have that mindset of not trusting what the FDA has to say about anything, and getting credit cards accepted at all these different farms. It's really expensive for them. I mean, you want to be able to sell just a handful of apples, a little bit, to these people who are coming in, and having the flat fee of credit cards as well as the relatively high percentage fees tacked onto every transaction. Not to mention the risk of chargebacks, which you'll never get that money back as an independent. And the crypto is just a perfect fit for them. So it's great being able to do this. Like when we were in New Hampshire, one of the oldest groups there that were accepting crypto were farmers at farmers markets. And it's excellent that this community, the independent and self-sustaining community is very interested in money that they don't have to rely on other people for. And removing middlemans from their exchanges is perfect for them. So I love that. The chicken thing that you have there just ties perfectly in with that, even though that was sort of a happen chance and a chance thing for you. So it's excellent.
Well, now we have ducks, and also there's someone who has just started feeding some goats, I think, and other animals.
I was thinking you could feed me cereal, but it wouldn't be as interesting to watch.
Yeah, there's something endearing about the helpless creature.
Yeah,
it's great. I didn't realize that other people were jumping on all those things. We have some thoughts in that area too, but we'll see what we come up with and everybody else does, because it's just an excellent use case. And as you said, it showcases the ease of the transactions, and it helps the most unbanked in our culture of our chicken ducks.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you talked about a little bit of Internet of Things, and that's an interesting sort of overlap with blockchain. And I see you finding it with on-chain transactions with some of these coins like SmartCash, and I think you mentioned not Bitcoin, because that one just doesn't fit the use case anymore. But in the Internet of Things, are there some other sort of ideas you're thinking about, or is that something that you want to keep under wraps for a couple more weeks until you got it ready to launch?
One item. I mean, the crypto power. We've thought that restaurants and other people or people that are accepting donations can plug in a device, say like a fountain, and thank people for a donation. Just have a QR code there, you scan it, send your payment, and the fountain turns on. That's one thing you can do today, and another application that we've thought of.
When I think of this stuff, I think of like the 80s and like arcade machines with the quarters and jukeboxes with the quarters. So I'd think any of those sort of things are similar use cases. So I could see like a whole arcade where you use crypto to get your game credits, and maybe like a jukebox situation where you can choose what's streaming in the restaurant, or at a party or something.
Those are all exactly. And in fact, it's interesting you bring up arcade machines. They use very similar technology that the soda machines and the snack machines use. So we actually, that are the new vending type technology that we are working on, which should be out. You know, we're figuring we're going to have proof of concepts out just in a few months, where we can start retrofitting video arcade pinball machines, arcades, soda machines, snack machines. So that's actually all coming together quite nicely and quite quickly. So we are excited about that. You know, mentioning the tipping, like the fountain maybe at a restaurant where you send a QR code and then it turns on, or a set of lights or something like that, that gives sort of positive feedback. Because with cryptocurrencies, you know, you imagine the jar sitting up there on the sushi, at the sushi restaurant, and they have the jar for tips. And cryptocurrencies doesn't have any sort of physical form, so you know you can't just drop that in. So in order to overcome that, if you had something interactive, where with a QR code, the QR code alone is just so boring. So, but if you tipped it and then it did something exciting, that's where we see people doing that already. And in fact, we have that at our local meetup. They actually we donated one of their crypto powers, and they bought a fountain. And so now at each of the meetups that we go to help the Bitcoin community here in Utah, they tip, and it's interactive, and it's sort of fun that way. We also thought, you know, Twitchers, they could use this type of application for something interactive in the background, or something, you know, like maybe one of those big annoying, you know, something annoying for their viewers to annoy them with. Yeah, the blow up tube man, right?
I think you've picked on like a really important topic, the idea of tactile response, because with digital money, you send it and it's gone, and that's not a rewarding feeling for people. It's not sort of the same tactile thing. You hold physical fiat and you pass it to someone and they hold it and they fold it. So you're interacting in a more tactile experience by doing these feedbacks. So I think that's really great. It actually might be a really important thing, even for just daily merchant experiences at, you know, a little point of sale thing, some sort of more interesting feedback systems. So I think you've found a really humanistic part of the technology that so far has been lacking. So I think these innovations are really good potential for the future to make it like better with adoption, that sort of thing.
Well, we're glad you like it.
All right. Well, I think we're about hitting our time frame here. I want to be respectful of everybody's time on Christmas Eve, because it's we all have our family to get to. And my kids.
See my Christmas tree in the background.
That's perfect. I know my kids.
All I got is my rockets.
That could be Christmassy too, or maybe more
I just
New Year's.
Put some lights on them, and then we're good.
Yeah, and what I'd like to do is give you both the opportunity. Anything you'd really like to talk to our audience about before I let you go, and then just where can people find you, find your stuff, follow you on social media and whatnot. Go ahead.
Well, we just really appreciate the opportunity to share our story here with you folks, and SmartCash, and just the enthusiasm of what you guys are doing. And where can people find us on social media?
Well, on Iozeta.com, or Iozeta just on Twitter. So /at IOZETA.
And then we have the chickens and the ducks. They have their own Twitch streams. Is that right?
They do.
Right. Yeah. Tell us about
the Twitch streams. So the best place to feed the chickens with SmartCash and the ducks with SmartCash is to go to their Bitbacker page. And to get there, just go to chickens.cash or ducks.cash, and it will redirect you right to their Bitbacker page. And then from there, you can send a message, pay with SmartCash, and watch them get fed.
Yeah, and that is a lot of fun. That is a lot of fun. My kids loved me clicking the button or using my phone to pay them, and just seeing the ducks go crazy. The ducks are much noisier than the chickens, it seems. So that was always a lot of fun. was a good idea to throw it on the ducks. Yeah, and yeah, I guess that's it, guys. I really appreciate your time, and thanks again for joining us on the SmartCash Smart Talk Radio episode 5 on this Christmas Eve. And I hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Mark. Merry Christmas.
Thank you both. Wonderful hearing about it.